me what to do. See this one. Which exercise to do together with you, for example. Is there any one that you need to tell me which number, and I will be doing it so that I can show you. I'm all yours. Yes, Katia Sosa.
Yeah, so can you please go through the one, problem 12, the Querezan, I don't know, if from New Mexico?
Teresan, yes.
Yeah, I think I did it, but I am not sure if it's correct.
Okay, let me see. Is this the one? Number 12, Teresan, New Mexico. This one, Katia. Can you see it in your screen? I cannot see you, so let me. Can you see it? Yes?
Yes, we
Yes, we
can.
can.
All right, very good. So it says that these two sounds, uh, a voiceless sh sound and a de-voiced. So the difference between these two is voicing, basically, because it has a little thingy, a round thingy there. So that's the difference. So how to pronounce these two? The first one we know is like shampoo, right? So sh. And this one, the de-voiced one, is without the voice. How can you do that? Something like that, yes? I cannot reproduce the sound, definitely. Okay, but that is irrelevant regarding the exercise. Okay, so the instructions, reading the instructions is extremely, extremely important. So it says they are in complementary distribution. It already tells you that these two sounds are for allophones because they are in complementary distribution. Every time we find this complementary distribution, we know that the sounds we are studying are allophones. Okay? They form one phoneme, it says. Okay, so just because of that part of the instructions, then I can definitely write this, and then an arrow like this, and then this is one phoneme which has two different allophones. This is one allophone, and this is the other allophone. Okay. This one. So I know this already just by reading the instructions. What I don't know is how to fill them in. Yes. So one of them, one of these two allophones is the sh sound. So let me copy the sh sound here, copy, and put it here. The order is not important. Like if you put this in the second bracket is okay too, no problem. We don't care about the order here in which the rule appears. Copy and paste. There. Very good. So we still do not know which one the phoneme is. Let me continue reading the instructions. They are in complementary distribution and form one phoneme. State the distribution. What does state the distribution mean? It means write the rule as I was doing. Write the rule. And then it says it will be necessary to describe 4 different environments. There are 2 rules for each allophone. Forms marked with a star contain both allophones. Very good. So there are 4 different environments, it says. Let me see. I will start doing my T diagram now. This one occurs in word initial, syllable initial position. Hanashien. Hanashien. Okay, so is syllable initial. This one occurs in syllable initial too. But remember that we not only look for the location of the sound, but we also look at the adjacent sounds. This is an adjacent sound, ah, and this one is also an adjacent sound. It happens to be that both of them are vowels. Let me check in number 2. Yes, the same pattern happens. Whenever we are looking for rules, we're looking for patterns, repetitive patterns. This one has the same pattern. Okay, so we know already that this sound occurs either in word in syllable initial position or in intervocalic position. So that is clear. Let me see number 4. Now, number 4, don't get confused. Let me, this is one sound, the ch sound. Don't get confused, please. This is the sound that we're studying. Like this. Here, the sound does not occur in intervocalic position. Huge, huge, shoes. Okay, so is syllable initial, maybe? Here, we have it in syllable initial position too. And here we have it intervocalic in intervocalic position. Okay. So number 7 is not is syllable final position. Number 8, syllable final position. Number 9, mahasht. Syllable final position, syllable initial, syllable final, like this. Very good. Regarding this retroflex with trill sound, we can see that this occurs in intervocalic position as well. It also occurs in syllable initial position. I can see that here. Here is syllable initial position 2, intervocalic. This is one sound. Don't get confused, please. This is the ch sound. Okay. Before the ch sound, etc., etc. Okay. Syllable final or word final. This is the ch sound too. Don't get confused with that. Very good. So we have seen different environments, and the instructions say there are 2 rules for each allophone. That's what it says. So I need to see what these rules are. Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute because okay, there. You see. So what should I do then? I should write rule number 1 for this sound and rule. My computer is super slow today, or always. Never mind. Rule number 2 for this sound, and then rule number 1 for this sound, and rule number 2 for this sound. This is what I need to do. Okay. So what did I find? I found that this sound occurs in intervocalic position. Intervocalic position, intervocalic position. And this one also occurs in intervocalic position. I cannot write, I must not write the same rule for different allophones. Why? Because if I write the same rule for different allophones, there is no difference. They are not different allophones. The rules make them in complementary distribution. Okay, where one is, the other cannot be. That was the the definition, the concept. So what can I say then? I know that this sound occurs in intervocalic position, and this one also occurs in intervocalic position. How can I show the difference? Okay, did anyone solve the mystery? Does anyone have a theory on how it works? Sara Garcia, do you? No, you didn't raise your hand? No, okay. Katia, you have a theory? No idea? No one?
Professor,
Yes.
I think that the retroflexed one happens only in word final position and at the beginning of a stressed syllable.
And you mentioned a key word, Agostina. One thing that we were not taking into account, stress. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me take a look at it again. So in number one, we have the non-retroflex one, and it occurs in a non-stressed syllable. While in number 13, there is a stress, shuwen, na shuwen. And the same happens in other instances. Also, this one, for example, in this case, we can say that the sound occurs in intervocalic position. Yes, we can say that, but there is a W in between. What is that? What if we erase the W? That would be better. But no, we cannot do that. Okay? So what we can say is that it is intervocalic, still intervocalic between two vowels, but there is an optional glide in between. There could be an optional glide. Remember, which sounds are glides? The J and the W. Those are the glide sounds. Okay. Very good. So, okay. Can we say that this sound occurs word initially then, like this? Word initial. Let me see. In number 13 and sorry, number 14, 15, 16, 17, it occurs word initially. But it does not occur word initially in all cases. So it's safer to write syllable initial. Syllable initial. Very good. Okay, let me see. Syllable initial, but we need to specify that it is a stressed syllable. Sorry. Like this. So at the beginning of the syllable in a stressed syllable. A stressed syllable. Yes, like that. And it also occurs in word or syllable final position. Let me see. Syllable, word, 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 word. in word final position. Okay. So I need to write word final. In word final position, like this. We have found two different rules then for the retroflex one. What about the other one? The other one is very, very similar in this language. It also occurs in intervocalic position, but in an unstressed environment. Yes. And it also occurs where else? It occurs at the beginning of the word and also between a vowel and a consonant. Okay, in a more syllable medial position. Ish is syllable ish. Ish is syllable final. In number 11, yush is syllable final. In number 10, spawn is syllable initial. In number 9, mahasht is syllable medial in all environments. Okay. So for this one, I will say that the more consistent one would be in intervocalic position, okay, but in an unstressed environment. But for number 2, we have so many rules. We have syllable initial, we have syllable medial, and we have syllable final. Okay? What do we call when the sound goes in all three environments? There must be a word. Which is the word?
Elsewhere?
Yes, it occurs everywhere else. Yes. So the rule is that it occurs elsewhere. So elsewhere. Like this. Which the other sound does not have. The other sound does not occur elsewhere. It occurs only at the end of words. Okay. So this is the exercise. Okay, the distribution, it will be necessary to describe 4 different environments. There are 2 rules for each. Okay. Yeah, I think we did that. So what should I write in the exam? I write, which will be the phoneme. The elsewhere is always the phoneme. So here, this is the phoneme. Okay. And I do not need to write these are 2 allophones of the same phoneme because the instructions already say that. Okay. So if I write like this in the exam, that's it. I will be happy. You will get full points if you do this. Okay. But you need to show me your evidence. Please show me color, circle, underline something so that I know that you were thinking about that. Yes. Or in a piece of paper if you want. Whatever suits you.
Professor, sorry to interrupt you. Could it be, for example, the specific example numbers after the
Yes.
rules?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The numbers.
Instead of pointing
Yes.
to the specific things.
Excellent, Ariel. Yes. Correct. Is there any other word regarding this specific exercise? Crystal clear or Upakarai Lake clear?
Professor,
Yes.
how many rules can an allophone have?
Normally, one allophone has 1 rule, but there are cases in which they have 2. And maybe there are languages in which there are more. But if they have more, probably they get to 3 or 4 tops. We cannot have sounds with so many different rules. Why? because the more rules they have, the freer the allophones are. And what do you call a free allophone? An allophone that occurs like everywhere. A phoneme. So they are not allophones anymore, they are phonemes already. Remember, the characteristic of phonemes is that they occur wherever they want. They don't follow rules. Allophones are rule governed. Very good. Okay. Is there any other exercise you would like to go through? Katia again?
I just have like general question because in the problem number 21, Karuk from California, I did the like the diagram, and there is only one like exception like it is consistent, somewhat consistent, and it's only one word that is different. In that case, how do we decide which one is the phone?
Very, very good question. Yes, excellent. So again, whatever we do, we need to read instructions. So instructions say are, a, and allophones of one phoneme or not. In this case, the instructions do not help me because I need to distinguish, I need to know if they are allophones or phonemes. I need to follow the steps then. Step number 1, look for minimal pair. Is there any minimal pair? Apparently not. Step number 2, look for subminimal pairs. Is there a subminimal pair? Kind of. And step number 3, look for complementary distribution, meaning look for consistency. And can we find any consistency? Attract, hack,
Professor?
para. Yes.
There is consistency.
Where? Show me.
So the phoneme
The
allophone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the a happens only in stressed syllables,
Mm-hmm.
and the only happens in unstressed environments.
Is this the same rule as English?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, yes, which means then, what should you write then? The sounds are allophones of one phoneme. Evidence. They are in complementary distribution. How do I show that? I show that by writing the rule and the rule says is schwa in the environment of them. How to state this? Stress syllable. Notice that I did not write an underscore before the dollar symbol or after the dollar symbol. I did not write anything. What does it mean? It means stressed syllable. And this one is always unstressed syllable. Unstressed Syllable. Very good. And now I need to decide which one the phoneme is. Okay. There are many ways of deciding, and I cannot, because I don't know the language, I cannot tell you, this is the way that you chose is wrong. But just thinking that these sounds share the same rules as English, then I would say that the A is the phoneme. Just thinking that there are more, no, sorry, the schwa is the phoneme because there are more unstressed syllables than stressed ones. Okay, just because of that. But if you do the converse and you write A is the phoneme, it's still okay. Why? We do not have an elsewhere. So whenever we don't have an elsewhere, it could be any of them. Any of the allophones can be the phoneme. So it will be okay. I won't be that strict. This is introduction to linguistics. Wait until you get to Professor Romina Bento, then she will teach you morphological analysis of foreign languages, aboriginal languages, etc. So this is a good introduction for you. Okay, you need to master this in order to solve her problems. Her problems are, yeah, interesting too. Okay, but let's leave the moment. Yes, let's focus on this first. Questions about the exercise? Clear? Clear. Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. Any other thingy? Jasmine Ramirez. Yes.
Could you explain the case of assimilation, please?
Assimilation. Yes. Very good. First, we need to define what assimilation is. How can I explain this? Is there anyone familiar with Star Trek? No? Star Trek. Yeah. It's an old TV series, sci-fi series. It started in 1967, very many years ago. But it has been evolved, and currently in Netflix you can find one, the latest version of, yeah. How do you do it like this? There you go. Okay. Yeah, but basically, let me see, one of the Star Trek series, because there are many. The one with Captain Picard. Which one is that one? Okay, never mind. That's not important. The humans travel through space and they find aliens. Okay, one of these aliens are called the Borg. The Borg are very mean because they invade whole planets and they convert the inhabitants of the planet into Borgs. So the original inhabitants of the planets, they look like Borgs. They assimilate the inhabitants of the planet. Okay. The same happens in phonetics. Normally, alveolar sounds are very weak sounds. Now, let's make a list of alveolar sounds, and I need to write that on the chat section. Which are the alveolar sounds? This one, this one, this one, this one. They are alveolar sounds. Okay. They are very weak. What does weak mean? It means that they are like the inhabitants of those planets. They cannot do anything to confront the Borg that come to assimilate them. Okay, so we studied allophonic variations. We studied number one allophonic variation was called vowel reduction, the schwa. Then we studied, I don't know, nasalization, dentalization, velarization, parentization, etc., etc. All these allophonic variations. If we look at velarization, velarization happens when there is a K sound or a G sound next to an N. For example, in the word English, the N sound becomes ng, English. Okay, that is a rule, and that rule is called velarization. Now, if you look at the chat section, the N becomes ng, and I cannot write ng here. Just give me a minute. Type IPA. I will write it. I will do it. Just a minute. This one. Copy and put it here. There. So, English. Okay, I will not be writing symbols because it takes me too long. Becomes English. Like this. Okay. Who is the Borg then? Who is the one that assimilates the other sound? Here. Who forces the weak N to change into a different sound? Why did the N change? Remember the rule for velarization? Yes, Alejandro. Because the N next to a G or a K changes into ng. Now, let's look at the technical names. What is the name of the N? The N is an alveolar sound, a weak sound. What is the technical name of a G? A velar sound. What is the technical name of the ng sound? Velar. So the weak alveolar sound becomes into a velar sound. Why? Because of the strong velar sound next to it. That is an example of assimilation. Now, there is another example of assimilation. When a word like this, bag, is pluralized, the G again, the G is the bad, the evil sound, the Borg sound. The G is a voiced sound. And the poor S, which is an alveolar sound, the poor S, weak S sound is there. So the G forces the N, the S, to become voiced too. And we have Z instead. So, conclusion then. There are certain sounds that are very strong and force the contiguous sound to behave like them, to look like them. Okay, that is a case of assimilation. Now that we have clarified that, which exercise was assimilation? I don't remember. Can you
Number 15.
15. Here. There is a case of assimilation. Identify it and explain how it works. Okay. Here we have, is this 15? Yes, unknown dialect. Okay, I think it's invented, an invented dialect. Yes. Okay, I can see the assimilation here. Does anyone have any specific number of words that have been assimilated? Which one? Which numbers are they? Which word number?
Could it be, I don't know, I'm just throwing, I guess, either 4 or 8?
Yes, yes, you are right. 4 and 8. There is a case of assimilation here. Absolutely right. Yes. Number 4, that gets our attention, right? It's very suspicious. Tadsa. Yes, very good. Notice the assimilation here. Here we have TS and here we have DZ. Okay. We know that this is an alveolar sound. The T is an alveolar sound. We know that. We also know that the S is also an alveolar sound. So alveolar with alveolar, very good. Here we know that these are also alveolar sounds. So there is no difference. What is the difference between number 4 and number 8? Voicing. These two are voiceless sounds, and these two are voiced sounds. Okay. So there is a case of assimilation. Identify it. Yeah, we have identified them and explain how it works. Okay. We do not know this language. We do not speak this language. So we are going to relate this language to English, which is the one that we know. And we know that we can treat this as a pluralization rule, for example. Okay. So if the sound, the final sound, the contiguous sound is voiceless, the what? What should I write? Let me try another way. The and change next to the T changes to the next to Z. Okay, we can write it in many different ways. We can mention voicing, for example. We can say voiceless sounds go together with other voiceless sounds, and voice sounds go together with other voice sounds, something like that. Yes. Remember, we're dealing with unknown languages to us, so we need to give a guess, an educated guess from a linguistic perspective. Yes. Technical perspective. Yes. We can never be 100% sure of what we're saying because we're dealing with unknown languages. 2 and with 6-2 says Violeta Salinas. Let me check. 2 and 6. 2 and 6. Eka and Esa. Well, actually, this is a minimal pair, Violeta. Eka and Esa is a minimal pair, but the thing is that we are not discussing the difference between K and S. We're discussing the difference between S and Z, A and E, D and T. That's why 2 and 6 is not a good example in this case, but it's an example of a minimal pair only. Any other thing? Okay, so assimilation, a new concept, let's say. Very good. Is there any other exercise you would like to go through? Any comments? Any in the first few exercises they mentioned isolated pairs. I don't really know what they are. If you could explain that. Yes, isolated pairs are also known as suspicious pairs. What does it mean? It means that the linguist took certain words from that language and he started isolating. I will analyze these two sounds, this pair of sounds. He isolated them from the linguistic corpus. Just that. Okay. So basically, is the sounds we are studying. Those are the isolated pairs. All right. Very good. How do we know if it is syllable initial or word initial? Excellent question. Well, word initial occurs always at the beginning of the word, while syllable initial could occur at the beginning of the word, but sometimes it occurs in the middle of the word. It is still syllable initial. If I say dinosaurio, dinosaurio, the S in dinosaurio, it occurs in syllable initial position. It's the beginning of the third syllable. Okay, it's not word initial, but it's syllable initial. Okay, we need to distinguish. This is very tricky, and we need to distinguish these concepts: word initial and syllable initial. Yeah, very good. Any other thing? Normally, when we have these kind of classes, you think that you have everything clear, and then in the exam, questions pop out. But I cannot answer the questions there. Can we do problem number 6? Let's do problem number 6 then. Yes. Let's do number 6. Oh, number 6 is not Calava in this one. So let me look for Calava because I have a different order, let's say. Calava, no.
Professor, it is number 16, I think.
Oh, all right. Let me take a
Why
look.
are they different? Why are the numbers different?
Because every year I keep changing my manual. I keep adding things, modifying things, deleting things. That's why.
Where can I find this one, the
You
2020
cannot.
manual? Oh, okay.
You cannot.
I thought that everybody had it and I
No,
was
no,
the
no.
only one. Okay.
No, for some reason, I decided to make it in different parts instead of having just one manual. Everything was crazy last year, so. Okay. Number 16, Calava. Dale. Very good. It says, for each suspicious pair of phones in this dialect, state if the phones are two distinct phones or if they are allophones of the same phoneme. By doing this, you need to explain your answer. Very good. Super. All right. So, number 16. Let's start with the first pair, which is S and Z. What are the steps? First, look for minimal pairs. Do we have a minimal pair for that? To gap? No. No. We have a subminimal pair. Number 1, sugab. versus number 10, zugak. This is a sub-minimal pair. And we have number 3, pavus, versus number 15, pavas. Sub-minimal pair, okay? And probably one more, yeah. Okay, so what is my conclusion? My conclusion is that the sound might be phony. And the evidence is these two sub-minimal pairs. Now we're going to look for N and M. And again, we go to the first step. First step, look for minimal pairs. Is there a minimal pair? Yes, yes. Okay. So, wait, my computer is thinking. Okay, number, which number is it? Number 12 and number 7. 7 says navan and 12 says mavan. Okay, that means if I change the N for an M, a completely new meaning. The word has a completely new meaning. If I say navan, it means smoke. If I say mavan, it means valley. Okay. There is a minimal pair. The sounds are two different phonemes. Well, how do I know that? Phonemes are the ones who change meaning. Very good. Now, which sounds now? The sounds K and G. Okay. Very good. So for K and G, I need to look for minimal pairs, and I cannot find any minimal pair. I need to look for sub-minimal pairs then. And there might be some, but I will look for complementary distribution. And if I look for complementary distribution, I will have to analyze not only the sound, but the immediate environment as well. So let me see. Number 9. Sometimes people do not want to pronounce number 9 for obvious reasons. And that's it. Okay. I can see consistency just by looking at the color. And now I will do the same T diagram with the K. Here, 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 here. Okay, just by looking at the colors, I cannot see any consistency. Well, it is consistent in a way. It occurs at the beginning or at the end, never in the middle, always. And is it syllable or word this time? It's word, right? It's word. So word initial or word final. It has a rule, yeah? But between the two of them, which one is the more consistent one? The more consistent one is the G. Okay. So where does the G occur? In intervocalic position. Where does the K occur? At the beginning of the word and at the end of the word. Two rules. So why don't I just write elsewhere and also? So the K occurs everywhere else, which is not intervocalic position. That's what it means. The elsewhere is always the phoneme. Okay. So the K is the phoneme. I have finished the exercise. I know about S and Z. I know about M and N, and I know about K and G. Yeah. Question?
Professor,
Clear? Yes.
um, if we find subminimal pairs, is it okay if we just stop there, or is it advisable for us to keep looking for complementary distribution?
You stop there
Okay.
because minimal pairs are definite. You are 100% sure that the sounds are phonemes. So the
But
moment you
subminimal
find
pairs.
for sub-minimal pairs,
Yeah. Yeah.
you could keep looking then, just in
Okay.
case, because you're never sure. Yeah, keep looking.
But it'll be okay if we just answer that they might be phonemes.
It will be okay, yes, as long as you have like 2 or 3 sub-minimal pairs for a backup evidence. For evidence, yeah.
Professor, could we do the next one?
Yes, the same language, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's do it. This is very interesting because it is the same language and is the same pair of sounds, the S and the Z again. And this is what happens to all linguists. The more they analyze a language, the more they change their minds because they keep discovering things. So their initial hypothesis is changed by something new now. All right, and this is what is going to happen now. So we have this suspicious pair again. Then we have a new pair, N and Ñ, these two. And then we have V and V, vowel and short vowel and long vowel. But it says that we need to analyze the duration of 3 vowels, the A, the I, and the U. That means A and A, I and I, U and U. So in total, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs that we need to analyze. And let's do it in order. Okay. So, first one, minimal pair. Do we have a minimal pair for the S and the Z? Apparently not. No. Remember, I cannot read the chat. We don't have any. Do we have a sub minimal pair for the S and the Z?
1 and 6?
1 and 6. Not really. Remember, we're analyzing S and Z. Okay. In number 1 and in number 6, there is no instance of S. So this is what I'm looking for. S and Z. I need to focus on these two sounds. I need words in which these sounds occur. So, ni paz, quizás, ni spantus, no, musu. Nothing. Cani, cani, no. Okay. Another way of doing the analysis is, and this is what normally students do, is the moment they find minimal pairs, they analyze that and they get rid of it as soon as possible. So let's do that. Let me focus on what you said then. Number 1 and number 6 is an example of a minimal pair. Yes. Which are the sounds that make the difference in numbers 1 and 6?
The short A and the long one.
Very good. So we can say that A and A are two different phonemes.
Professor,
Yes.
I think that this exercise is different in our manual.
Is it?
I think
It
so.
could be. It could be. Yeah, it could be. It could be because I tell you, I keep changing it. Not only the adding languages, but also changing the content. It's for educational purposes because sometimes it's too difficult. Sometimes, depending on the group, sometimes I change them. Okay, let's focus
Because
on this,
um,
and then once I finish this, I would like you to tell me your version so that we can do both. Good. All right. Then we have. Let's keep looking for minimal pairs. Then, do we have another minimal pair? Yes. Number 4 and number 14 are examples of minimal pairs. Yes. The N and the ñ are examples of minimal pairs. Are two different phonemes. Why? There is a minimal pair 4 and 14. So I got rid of that too. Okay, and then is there any other minimal pair? I don't think there's more. Okay. So A and N and ñ. Now let me see the E and the U, for example. We have sub-minimal pairs. We have number 3, musu. Oh, I need to change the font here. Number 3, musu, and number 11, misu. Okay, this is an example of sub-minimal pair in which the sounds E and U occur. Okay, musu, misu, and then sanu, suni, kani. Okay, number 9, suni, and number 15, tanyu. I need to change the font here. There, very good. So all of these are examples of sub-minimal pairs, which mean that the sound U and E might be phoneme. And now the S and the Z. Okay. I need to find a minimal pair and I cannot find it. Subminimal pair, Let me do a T diagram of this. This one occurs word final position, word final position, word final position. I can see consistency here. Let me check all of them. Yeah, apparently all of them. Not here. And regarding the S sound, we have beginning of the word, intervocalic position, or beginning of the syllable, syllable initial again, intervocalic position, intervocalic position again, here, and this TS is a different sound. It's together. Okay, so between the Z and the S, the more consistent one is the Z. Conclusion. The Z occurs in a more consistent way. So the Z always occurs in word final position. I don't know. My keyboard is different. That's why it doesn't correspond to what the buttons show. That's why I get confused with them. I don't know, but this word is the word final position. There. And the S occurs in two different environments, intervocalic position and also beginning of the syllable, which I write elsewhere. Elsewhere. And I chose the elsewhere to be the phoneme. Okay. If I compare this exercise in which the S is the phoneme and it has two different allophones with the previous exercise, notice that in the previous exercise, we can see that the Z occurs in syllable, in word initial position. So my rule is wrong, let's say. But I only know that because of the previous exercise. Exercises are done individually. So if you arrive to this conclusion, it's a perfect conclusion because we treat them individually unless I specify to you, okay, here you have two different exercises and one is connected with the other, etc., etc. But I won't do that, okay? All the exercises are individual exercises, okay? There is one more thing that I need to show you, and let me open it, just a minute. And I will have to stop sharing this with you so that I can open the other thing. And I don't know, I don't think we will have time to do all of that, but, or maybe I can create a video or something like that. Just a minute. Phonology. Another very good source of practice exercises is the manual, not the manual, the textbook, An Introduction to Language. Okay, so I would like to go over that with you for a minute so that I can show you. They are different from my manual, but they are essentially the same thing. They are more detailed, let's say. So you don't follow necessarily the same steps to do the exercise, but it's the same thing. Number 7. Can you all see number 7 here?
Yes, we can.
Yes, very good. Number 7. In southern Congo, a Bantu language spoken in Angola, the non-palatal segments T, S, and Z are in complementary distribution. Okay, we know that these are phonemes, are allophones of the allophones, are allophones, with their palatal counterparts ch, sh, and j, as shown in the following words. Okay, and you have the linguistic corpus there. Number 1 say, or A says, state the distribution of each pair of segments. For example, t and ch, the t occurs before blah, blah, blah. This is a T diagram, what I call a T diagram. Where does each sound occur? Okay, it's because they are allophones and we know that already. So we just need to look at the linguistic corpus and know where each sound occurs. So they give you an example and then you need to fill in the others. Okay, so the textbook is easy in this way. B says, using considerations of simplicity, which phone should be used as the underlying phoneme for each pair of blah, blah, blah. Okay, too many technical words. Is asking which one is the phoneme. The phoneme is the one that occurs everywhere, the elsewhere. Okay, for example, between T and Ch, which one is the phoneme? The phoneme is the elsewhere. This is the elsewhere. The T occurs before all these sounds, but the Ch occurs only before the E sound. So we can say then, we can totally answer this question, which is the phoneme. C says, state in your own words the one phonological rule that will derive all the phonetic segments from the phonemes. Do not state a separate rule for each phoneme, a general rule that can be stated that will apply to all 3 phonemes you listed. In B, try to give a formal statement of your rule. So it's telling you that if you know the rule for this pair, T and Ch, you will know the rule for S and Sh, and the same rule will apply to Z and J. Okay? That is what it's telling you. Notice that it says, Ch, the textbook already told you the answer. It says, Ch occurs before E. Okay, so that means that this occurs in the same environment and this one on the same environment. Let's check it out. Yes, it's true. Before E, before E, before E. That is right. And what about the sh sound? The sh sound is here. Sh, she. Very good. Yes, we have a rule. Then this rule is applied to all of the pairs. Notice how simple the book is. Why? Because it's designed for you to practice, and it breaks it down into smaller pieces than the textbook. Then it says, state the rule. Yes, we can try to give a formal statement of your rule. Yes, we can use the rule that I always write, the brackets, the arrow turns into bracket, blah, blah, blah. That rule notation is what it's asking you to do. Indeed, it says, which of the following are possible words in Southern Congo and which are not? We never did this kind of exercise, the D exercise, but let's do it all together. We know the rule already. So, Tennessee, do you think this word is possible in Southern Congo or not?
No.
Yes or no? No, because the rule says that the S turns into sh before E. So the proper word will be Tennessee or something like that. Second one, Lo chunuta. What do you think?
No.
No, because the ch only occurs before I. So the pronunciation is lo tunuta. The third one, zevo gigi.
Yes.
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 Very good. The fourth one, shishi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Follow the rule. Casa. The S.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, correct, correct. And the last one, igilosa.
No.
No, because of
No,
the
because
job.
that is not proper. It should be za. Okay. You have finished the exercise. Notice how easy these kind of exercises are. They are practice exercises. Okay. So I strongly encourage you to do all these exercises and to ask me questions during the week then. Not only the exercises that apply. There are questions like that have nothing to do with what I have taught you. So the ones that are similar to what I taught you, you can try. Okay, choose one language and try to do it. Okay, it helps. One of the objectives of asking you to do these kind of exercises is for you to develop analytic skills, comparison and contrast, and get a conclusion out of it. Francisca said you should put that kind of exercise in the test. Why not? It could be one of these in the semester exam and a good one in the final exam, or vice versa, or I don't know. Okay, surprise, surprise. But the idea is that you are trained to reason and say, okay, these sounds occur everywhere. They might be phonemes then, or these sounds occur only before these sounds. These are allophones. Then there is consistency. There is a rule. Things like that make you think a lot. That's what we want. Okay, that's it. Is there any other thing I can help you with? Because otherwise, we will be finishing. No more? Ariel is okay? Very good. Excellent then. Very nice seeing you all again. About to become second year students. So go for it. Go for it. All right. I'll see you next Friday on the day of the exam then. All right. Goodbye.